Ay, ay, ay. That was an ugly one for the Pacers, who go to Portland and get walloped by the Blazers. I'm Tony East. I cover the Pacers and Fever here locally for a bunch of outlets, and we're talking Pacers-Blazers today. If you didn't watch it because it started really late, past your bedtime, this 8-minute breakdown will tell you that you shouldn't go back and rewatch it. There was nothing worth rewatching. It was awful, right? This game was not only a bad performance from the Pacers, who lost by 23 points. It was a bad NBA game. I mean, the back-to-back vibes were huge in this game. The Pacers were sluggish. They couldn't get going on offense. The Blazers were sluggish for the first 30 minutes of the game, 32 minutes of the game. I mean, it was a really ugly basketball game. It was very physical. There was a lot of missed shots for a long time until the Blazers got cooking. Like I said, the last quarter and a half, which we'll talk about the change that led to that. But it was an ugly game. And the Pacers never got going. Portland is just not their place. Travel back-to-back from Utah is tough. The Pacers have not won a game in Portland with fans since 2007. They won there one time since then. It was 2021. There were no fans. They suck there. Last year they played there. It was Siakam's first game. Haliburton returned. The vibes are great. They blew it. Haliburton ends up missing more time. Portland is cursed for the Pacers. Who knows why? Tonight I know why. Last night, if you're watching this the day after. Because they did nothing well. And I led on the podcast called Locked On Pacers by talking about Tyrese Haliburton and his 3 shot attempts and 0 points. They are not good when he does not score. This is his second scoreless game of the season. 3 shot attempts, his lowest in a game with the Pacers ever. Toumani Camara shut him down. He's a high field player. He wants to in these moments. He's being guarded by Toumani Camara, which means no one else is on his team, which means one of Ben Mathurin, Pascal Siakam, or Andrew Nembhard is being guarded by Anthony Simons. Someone has a much easier time than him. That player should get going. That makes sense intuitively. Tyrese Haliburton is the best Pacers offensive player. He's the one who has to get going. And that's as much on him as it is the rest of the team to set screens for him, to try to free him up, to get the ball back to him when he gives it up. He had 6 assists and only 2 turnovers. It's not like he was useless out there. But he only shot 3 times, and he's such a high-field player that I tend to gravitate towards the theory of, he's just doing what he thinks is the best for the team. But this was not good enough from him, right? They needed more from him. They need him to actually look at the rim more, not pass out of so many drives, try to create more threes. 1 3-point attempt, also tied for his lowest as a Pacer, right? Just not a good Tyrese Haliburton game at all. A donut, as people have been saying. But the thing is, the reason why I felt a little weird leading with this, even though I think it's the most common discussion among fans from this game, is it didn't feel like the reason the Pacers lost. If you watch the game, they did nothing well. And I never felt like, Haliburton, that should have been a play for him. Or man, he should have taken that shot. He should have done this or that. Not that you felt him a lot anyway, but that never felt like the case to me. Everything the Pacers could have done, everything you can point to after a game and say, this went well, that went well, this stat was the answer, that typically leads to a victory for a team. None of them went well for the Pacers, right? Let's run through all of them. Number 1, 3-point shooting, very important in the NBA. Pacers, 5 for 24 from deep in this game. 5 makes. That is their second fewest in a game this season. 24 attempts, I believe, is their third fewest in a game this season, or tied for third fewest. They couldn't generate good threes, and they couldn't make anything from deep. 20.8%, their second worst percentage in a game all season. The Blazers made 9 more threes than the Pacers. That is so hard to overcome. 27-point difference from the 3-point line. And deserved. The Blazers created good looks, and Anthony Simons was bombing from deep and hitting, right? Big swing right there, okay? That's thing 1. Okay, well, you don't win the shooting battle. The Pacers stunk from 3-point range the night before when they lost in Utah. They overcame it that night. How? Well, one thing they did very well in that game was they dominated the turnover battle in Utah. To their credit, they did a good job forcing turnovers. They didn't turn it over that much. Late in the game, they actually finally finished their chances and they won. In this game, the Pacers had 19 turnovers, one of their worst 10 games in that category this season. The Blazers had 18. That's still a lot, but the Pacers had more. That's a way they could have clawed back into this one. Take care of the ball. Find ways to score. Get extra possessions. Did not do that. Forced the Blazers to turn it over, but they turned it over more. You can't be inefficient shooting and be worse in the possession battle. No matter. You can lose both those things and still win a game. What if you have a bunch of offensive rebounds? Give yourself limitless chances to keep scoring on a possession. 14, that's pretty good for the Pacers. The Blazers had 16. The Blazers also had 35 defensive rebounds. The Pacers had 25. 51-39 difference on the glass in this game. Some of that is that the Pacers missed 47 shots. The Blazers missed 51. If you add in free throws, though, the Pacers had more misses, air quotes, than the Blazers. So more chances for the Blazers to get rebounds. And they were good on the offensive glass. That all makes sense to me. I get why they had more rebounds in general, but 12 is a huge difference. The Blazers took 11 more shots in this game. So the Pacers did not make the shot that they did take. 44 points in the paint for the Pacers. That's pathetically low. They didn't make threes or score at the rim. They did not do well on the glass. They turned it over a bunch. They didn't do anything well. Any of the categories you could look at and say, this is how they won the game. They dominated the possession battle. They did great at the foul line. They made a bunch of threes. They finished well at the rim. They defended well. None of the above. Defensively, they were okay for the first 30 minutes or so, and then they got run out of the gym at the end. In fact, when I recorded my podcast, I went back and found this moment. I'll do it again. About 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. This was a 1-point game, and the Pacers had the ball. I believe this was the only chance of the game after the first couple minutes, obviously, where the Pacers could have scored and taken the lead. Pascal Siakam, turnaround jumper in the lane, a shot he's become so money at. He missed it. It was 52-53 at the time. Sorry, it was 53-51. Oh my gosh, 0 for 2. It was 53 for the Blazers, 52 for the Pacers at the time. Siakam misses that shot. Immediately, Robert Williams dunks 10 seconds later. Ben Mather misses a shot. Then Avdija hits a 3 next trip. All of a sudden, it's been 40 seconds since the Pacers had a chance to take the lead, and they're down 6. Rick Carlisle subs in his bench players. That did not work at all. Shaedon Sharpe dunks. Ayton turnaround. Shaedon Sharpe dunks. Blazers are up 12. And they never looked back. It got a little closer at times. The Pacers bench had a spirited run, I would say, to get it down to 6. TJ McConnell was quite good in this game. One of his best games in a while. He has not been playing particularly well since mid-December. 7 for 11. He had 14 points. He made that bench group go. He looked really good. He got to the rim. He finished shots. Andrew Nembhard was a good ball handler in this game. He was 6 for 10. I thought he was the Pacers' best player with 17 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. Right? They had guards who could get stuff done, but not consistent enough. And once their bench came out of the game late, it was over. The Pacers starters were dreadful. The Pacers were gassed. It was a back-to-back. They were obviously gassed. That's why they were getting smoked to so many rebounds. Miles Turner, 2 boards, 3 for 8 from the field. Not going to cut it. Right? They had just so much go against them. That mid-third quarter stretch sunk them, although they were not great in the fourth quarter either. They couldn't shoot. They couldn't rebound. They couldn't take care of the ball. They couldn't do anything. They could not do anything at the level required to win an NBA game, and they lost. The Blazers have been playing amazing. They have won 9 of 10 right now. But that does not excuse the Pacers playing the way they did, or Haliburton only getting 3 shots, which is just as much on him as it is the team to get him going. They've got to play better in their next game, which is Thursday in LA. But in between that, the trade deadline. We'll break down anything they do right here. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you after the next trade or game from the Pacers.